need plus devotion. No render my emotion in a garbage can. There is one thing I need you to know about this small matter, what you neglect to show. Show me that you love me. Yeah. Show me that you care. So we can be blessed now, minus the stress now. Yeah. Did you ever say thank you for all the things that I've shown you? No, still I stood by you. Ooh. Did you give me more than I bargained? Drain the love out of my fountain. Yeah. Still I stand by you. There is one thing I need you to know about this small matter that you neglect to show. Show me that you love me. Yeah. Show me that you care. So we can be blessed now, minus the stress now. Yeah. Simple as that, too.
Depend on the rest of my life. One who appreciates me as his lover and as his wife. And I know just how it feels when you found that perfect someone. I found that someone special.
Natural beauty, yeah. No, I never been someone shy until I seen your eyes. Still I had to try, yeah. Oh yes, let me get my words right and then approach you. Woman, I'll treat you like a man is supposed to. You'll never have to cry, no. I know everyone can relate to when they find a special someone. And she's royal, yeah, so royal. And I want her in my life.
No word of a lie. Oh. Did you ever say thank you for all the things that I've shown you? No, still I stood by you. Has it occurred to you lately how I'm feeling, my baby? No, still I stand by you. Yet there is one thing I need you to know about this small matter, what you neglect to show. Show me that you love me, yeah. Show me that you care, so we can be blessed.
Yes indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. It is yesterday, the Thursday edition of the Corridor Transformation, the penultimate, of course, before my sabbatal, or should I say, my rendezvous with, of course, my entertainment spot, my favorite entertainment spot. Of course, Mikey and Andy will, of course, tease me tomorrow, so better tease myself in advance. And that is to say, I will be on Prince Street, of course, I should say, Spagos. That being as it may, of course, we must, of course, make certain that we have a duty that is so entrenched, so intrinsic, so indivisible, that it cannot be postponed for whatever reason. Of course, I take note of the crocodile tears of Dr. Rowley Are we going to prove that they are, in addition to the crocodile tears that would have been shed in various ways in other matters, to draw an inescapable conclusion that the man is simply a rock-headed, and indurate, inhumane, and that all of those crocodile tears that he's shedding for that 5-year-old that got about 5 bullets in Maruga, clearly it's merely par for the course, and that he is distant, and that he is unsympathetic, and that it is merely politicking because he knows his ass is grass. Or put another way, all of them, the entire cabinet and the PNM, their asses are grasses. Yes, indeed, people. That is what we're going to discuss tonight.
Did you ever say thank you for all the things that I've shown you? No, still I stood by you. Ooh, did you give me more than I bargained? Drain the love out of my fountain. Yeah, still I stand by you. There is one thing I need you to know about the small matter that you neglect to show. Show me that you love me. Yeah. Show me that you care, so we can be blessed now, minus the stress now.
Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. This is, once again, of course, the Corridor Transformation. Of course, your host, LENNOX, in the background. We had a wonderful time, of course, on the ground report this morning. I think it was spectacular. I think it's one of the better moments on the ground report, as the 3 presenters, the 3 talk show hosts, pooled their resources collectively and individually in order, of course, to highlight the hypocrisy, the insensitivity, the nepotistic, coming from, of course, nepotism, and, of course, the cronyistic nature of this administration merely for power mongering or to stay in power. That's all this is all about. And, of course, we had a wonderful time in making a mockery. Serious matters, but nonetheless, we know that is histrionics and the theatrics for Rowley. As I said, they are so, what I consider to be simplistic. They are so pedestrian, yes. They are so fake that one could see through them from a mile. You must say? I say they could see through them from a mile. You see, you cannot have a position on the same matter as Prime Minister, as members of a party, and as ministers, and therefore government. Because when the Prime Minister speaks, he speaks to all of the cabinet ministers and therefore the government, simply because that is the process. All of the ministers are there at the behest, that is to say, at the whim and fancy of the Prime Minister. And that has been so from time immemorial and enshrined, of course, in the constitution of the country. You see, after every national elections, the party that wins the most seat, in this case, of course, is 41 seats in all, and the party that wins the most seat, as was the case in 2020, as it was the case in 2015, indeed, as it was the case in 10, yes, when Kamala Prasad Bissesa won, just about 27 seats and thereabout. The party that wins the most seats not only automatically becomes the government, but the person who commands the most elected members in the parliament, in the lower house. That is where everything starts. In the lower house. In the lower house, people, yes, the person that commands the support of the majority of the members of the lower house after an electoral process becomes prime minister. That is how he became prime minister. But let's go to the line. I think we have a call on the handset. So a pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox, and pleasant good night to Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, indeed.
Mr. Lennox, I want to explain something that I run it through today, watching the Democrat convention.
Okay.
All right, and I want to bring it over to our politics, right?
Okay, no problem, no problem. We
All
can
right.
make the comparison, yes.
Listen this, right? The Democrats in the last 16 years in the United States, right?
Uh-huh.
We have the Biden stay 8 years. Then we have Donald Trump come and get 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the Biden administration in office as we speak.
Yes.
Almost to finish the 4 years. So we check it as 16 years, right?
Right.
Okay. The Democrats now, they're running a campaign where they're saying, Save America.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I say let me understand, because out of the 16 years, the Democrats get 12.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And the 12 years they get, right now they're in the White House. So they are in office to fix the problem that they telling the supporters to support them for.
Yes.
So it reminds me of some of our administration in the last 15 years in Trinidad and Tobago. We have the People's Partnership led by this distinguished leader, Kamala Prasad-Bissessa.
Yes.
And we have the Lionel, who have office for 10 years.
Yeah, who is the incumbent? You're talking about Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley.
That's correct.
Yes,
but I
yes.
call him Lionel because
well, he's a habitual liar. So
tell the most lies.
yes, that
Right.
is appropriate for
And
that particular
I bring
individual.
it over. I bring the Democrats and them arguing a point. I bring it over to the Trinidadian, to the anti-politics way.
Yes.
Rowley doing the same thing. He is in office, and everything he wants to blame Kamala Prasad-Bissessa for, when he's in office 9 years, and just now it will be 10. So I just say all of that to say, the same thing that I've basically seen the Democrats and them doing, monkey see, monkey do. Dr. Rowley is doing the same thing here, because everything we're advocating for, you can fix it because you are in office.
Yes.
But you're playing the blame game where you're telling the public that Kamala this, Kamala that. The opposition is the most absurd thing I ever hear. Opposition running investors. Oh my God. So when you listen, it come like, as we were speaking about yesterday, with all the leaders and them, not all of them bad, but monkey see, monkey do, and as you say, let us know the fire will burn them. As you say, I was joining the reference.
Yes.
So I say, let me just explain that what is taking place, because most of the leaders now, they're blaming the people who is not in office for the problem that them created. Why in office? And because they want to get back in office to continue doing the ill will and the wrongdoing and the war on the poor people, they want to blame the people who have no keys because they are in opposition.
Yes.
You find that makes sense?
A lot of sense, my friend, and I'm gonna give my own analysis and contribution to the meat substance that you have put on the table there for us to consume.
Okay, well, I have something else, but I I will, when I'm put it together, I will call in again before, because I know you're here till 9.
Yes, I'm here until 9, yes.
So I will call in again, because I like to make contribution that could make sense and help the people grow, especially their mind.
Yes.
Their mind have to grow. You see, if we mind grow, Dr.
Yes.
Rowley can spend the next day in office, you know.
Oh, of course. And that is what we are here for, to speak the truth, nothing but the truth, and in the process, expose the shenanigans, the misrepresentations, the incompetence, the impotence, and the rank and unadulterated corruption that has not plagued, but has become normal for a PNM government under Keith Christopher Rowley.
I want to always thank you for allowing me to make my contribution.
Yes.
I'll call in again for sure.
Yes.
Before
Okay then,
the
my
night
friend.
is over.
I am waiting with great expectations. All right.
All right,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We have to go
Appreciate
to. We have another call on the line as well. So let's go straight to that caller. Pleasant good night. I wonder if I missed it. Caller, call back. Sorry about that. I saw it there, caller, and it appears that we have lost each other. So yes, indeed, that comparison that was made by the last caller, I think makes a lot of sense. Of course, one party, the Democrats are saying, let us save America. I will know from whom. And then, of course, another one is saying, let's make America greater again. But let us go to the lines before we extrapolate. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox.
Good night to you.
You hear me good?
Loud and clear, my friend. Loud and clear.
All right. What do you call that? It's so true, eh?
All right.
God, just fall it up. But it backfiring on them. You either have ability or you don't have, or you don't have. You're
Yes.
doing this thing as though if it's Trump running America,
Mm-hmm.
and the public pick up with that.
Yes.
So all the reporters telling them, but it's not Trump running America, or only the government. All the things that happen to Americans, oh no, they're not Trump. But you would know, you go to all kinds of things for Trump not to go up, ban him from certain states, but he get back in. The man had a good program last night, and he had a nice talk today too. Right? So tonight, Kamala Harris had to talk,
Yes.
but they're going to put you on teleprompter. But I expect pure data from that.
Yeah,
Then
I
you
expect,
can-
of course, that is the apex of the exercise to put the
Yeah.
icing on the cake in terms of blame, as
Yeah.
we have seen, of course, as a continuous feature of the PNM, trying to
But it's a fact. I've been
shift
telling
blame,
people that for years.
yeah, for their own iniquities. Yeah.
Ronald Reagan was
Uh-huh.
a Democrat, Lennox. Right?
Yeah.
And he was the governor of California. But he made plenty great movies there, Western and all kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And Ronald Reagan, when he realized they no good, he went to the Republicans.
Yes.
And the first time he went to win the election,
Yes.
he went up against Jimmy Carter. Right?
Yes.
So, and now I see Robert Kennedy, President Kennedy's son, want to come with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he came up, Obama and them talk, look, so much of crap last night, you know. They wouldn't
Yes.
believe
Yes,
no
my friends.
one. Eh?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I say, the amount of crap Obama talk.
Yes.
The last of Mrs. Obama, she always talk Greece. Then this other one who went to Switzerland and said they treat cheap at Oprah. But you would expect intelligent people to talk something good. Oprah went to Switzerland once and complained how they treat you like royalty. And I will just say, all right, Oprah, when you come back, we will hug you up and kiss you.
Yeah.
What is wrong with these people?
Yeah.
And Kamala handling Rowley the right way.
Yes.
You have my involvement with he? You know, Lennox Rowley Or they better get a bag or something to catch you before the trap is right, you know.
Yeah.
Yes. And just a little note, last night I heard you talking about Chitsamaru and them fellas, right?
Yeah.
Bobby Mohammed and the Guinness Cavaliers
Mm-hmm.
from South.
Yes.
When they come in town, they laugh at them.
Mm-hmm.
And they beat the first back to back. Yeah.
Yes.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the third time, when they put them second by some small points, Bobby leave and even Canada eventually. So the team really makes sense. That's how that man mash up.
Right.
You know, that's what was always the PNM band.
Yes.
But they had treated them like the PNM band these days.
Yes.
I know how they treated them.
Yeah.
When you're done tonight, you must give me a call.
I will, my friend.
You
All right.
call me, yeah?
Yes. Okay.
Because I don't know when you're on hook and all this thing.
Yeah, okay then, my friend. Yeah, not on air. All right.
Right.
Thank you very much for your
Okay.
contribution as per usual. Yes,
Right.
indeed. People, of course, probably we can go straight to the whole question of the comparison between what is happening in the United States as far as those parties are concerned and here in Trinidad. But I want to say one time of the cuff that it is, we don't have any horse in the race, and it's not about influencing the outcome of the elections in the United States. I want to say that we don't have the audacity or the capacity so to do. Let me get this one. Pleasant good night, welcome. Pleasant good night. We appear to have lost that one as well. I don't know if something is going wrong tonight, but let's see. Caller, sorry about that. Yes, but we're making the comparison without having any, of course, being as objective as possible, without having any horse in the race in the United States, because I don't think we have the moral, ethical, legal, or otherwise authority to influence the outcome of the elections in the United States. But of course, I think we have a right to make comparisons in terms of party positions and who is in government and what is expected of them. Clearly, when you listen to Dr. Rowley, you believe that the PNM, on the one hand, is in government to engage in activities that are inimical to the interests of Trinidad and Tobago and the people. You get that impression, having regard to the plethora of policies adopted and executed that clearly are inimical to our interests. And then on the other hand, you have the platitudinous, almost what I consider to be regular statements is almost, I used the term already this tonight, so I'm going to use it again, is almost pedestral, meaning that, or put another way, hackneyed, meaning that overuse of that term, but more so for public relations purposes, and more importantly, to recognize that they know what their role and function really is, but are testing the people by preferencing and by executing policies that are not in our interests. For example, the many taxes that were implemented. They know that nobody wants that. Rowley and all said that in 2015. No, not 2015, but just before the elections in 2010, that none of his constituents could afford $100 when Manning was prepared to implement the property tax. And that he don't like to spend money, and if he's spending money referring to the same property tax, he wants to see where his dollar is going. In other words, value for money. This man in government now does not indicate, doesn't have he doesn't have an iota, he doesn't have a modicum concept as to value for money, but pursues the implementation of, among others, property tax. I say among others because I'm not talking about electricity rates. I'm not talking about water rates. I'm not talking about, of course, this tax that was imposed, courier tax for persons who buying online. Yes. Borrow money as if it's going out of style, and then dipping into the Heritage and Civilization Fund, and as we say, cannot account. He is hamstrung. So therefore, they don't talk about it at all. I'm talking about, of course, the drastic reduction in our reserve from 10 to 12 billion US to now about 4 to 5 billion. But let's go to the lines. So we're going to make the comparison tonight. But before we do that, of course, we always take your calls first. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yes, Lennox.
Yes, incidentally, Miss Arima, I saw some missed calls from you, but boy, tired. So I ain't too long get up there because pain. It's really a lot of work, and of course, as I've always said, my mother would say, "Walk though dead, man does dead." So I had to take a rest. But go ahead, I will respond to you outside of the program as well, in due course. Yes.
The calls was something I sent.
Oh, I see. All right.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at it later.
I didn't get through.
No problem.
You will see it. Yeah. WhatsApp.
Okay.
Well, Rowley say it have barbarism,
Yes.
in what those men do to the child.
Yes.
How much people they shoot up? How much children die? He now talking. Why? It's because the people outraged for this thing. You see?
Well,
So,
you should say you should qualify more outrage than previous, because I mean,
people
the killing,
outraged right now, but
the killing of this court clerk. Yeah, the killing of this court clerk. I mean,
at
there
the
was
borders, it will have less guns, and it will have less gun violence. Less guns, less gun violence. Why the hell he do?
Yes. Technical problem? Hope it's not
Hello?
on my side. Yeah, go ahead. You say less guns, less violence.
He must talk out on international platforms for Trinidad and Tobago like how we did for Haiti. Your own country, you can't talk for help, international help, for some country to bring in the soldiers or the police, however the case may be, to help here in Trinidad in this little piece of place. Look, Tobago, 20 people dead for the year.
Yes.
They shoot up 5. What about if all, 6? What about if all 6 had died?
Boy, oh boy, that will be a tragedy.
Dead after.
Yeah.
One dead out of the 6. It have who could dead after, because I hear one well critical.
Right.
He have the place open, and you ain't asking for no help on the outside. Because why? Your best friend next door tell you he go help you guard the border, and he's a narco terrorist. And he regime have people where it is alleged, right, that they're exporting guns in the region. Name call. I ain't gonna call the name.
All right, no problem.
It's not only his best friend indicted, It have others. It have who they're calling. They put 10 million on them. But anyhow, Lennox, what I sent for you is where the OAS gather again today.
Yes.
The Permanent Council.
Right.
And I found out the ambassador name there who do not attend these meetings. Right? His name is Anthony Philip something, but
Spencer?
Anthony Philip. Let's go with that.
Spencer?
I don't have the name in front of me.
Okay. Because I know Spencer was recruited to head the SSA, so I don't know if he's both. But go ahead.
What you say? He's head of the SSA?
No, I say, I think the fellow who was recruited from, was taken from America to head the SSA Is a fellow called Spencer. So Anthony Spencer, I believe. But I could be
What
wrong.
Spencer is his name?
I think it's Anthony Spencer.
Anthony Phillips.
Philip
Anthony
Spencer.
Spencer is this one's name.
All right.
You get it?
Yeah, no. Go ahead. Just speculating. I'm not certain. So let's not
Listen to
let's
me.
not go there. Yeah.
I am not speculating. I research.
No, I'm saying I don't know if it's the same man. That's what I mean by speculation. I don't know if it's the same one and same person.
Anthony Philip Spencer.
Right.
Now today's gathering was concerned then the International Day of the abolition of slavery. Right?
Right.
And Trinidad was present. Trinidad was present because they had to go there to talk about the pan. And Trinidad and Tobago, the only thing they didn't mention is putting the pan on the coat of arms. But if you hear them talk about pan, and it is recognized, we get to hear the International Day of the Pan. But he didn't talk at the gathering. It was a woman who gave a speech.
Okay.
I'll
get it.
You could look at it.
I certainly will. That's very interesting.
Yeah, so we have to educate the people on these things.
Yes.
To know that we have rights in there.
Yeah.
Right? All these things, I hear they're talking about the migrants getting to go to school and blah, blah, blah. Well, let me tell them something. These migrants, they have rights in that same organization. They have a section where migrants have rights in any country. And they protect the migrants. And they have rights to go to school. Good? And the activists, the Venezuelan activists, also the opposition, put matters before this OAS, the Human Rights Council. Now, if people could remember, right?
Yeah.
Rowley was asked by the U.S. when he went to the Summit of Americas to give right to the LGBTQ plus family.
Yes.
These people now, what they call them?
Yeah.
The alphabet people.
Yeah, the homo,
right?
the homo and the
them alphabet people, right?
Yes.
So, if people only know who it is asked for the protection and they asked for schooling was the Venezuelans.
Okay.
They want protection for their LGBTQ people in this country. I want the people in this country to listen to me carefully. If them could use that organization and get through fast, right? When our government fail, it have an opposition to do these things. Whatever internal matters we have here and we settle in the court because they like to run in the court, and the courts here are really working. They had to run all to the Privy Council. The Privy Council had nothing to do with the Organization of America. They are a different body. They have their laws. Our country have treaties signed. Other countries have the things signed too. And they deal apart from Privy Council and all of that. Pamela could take them everywhere. A person on the chat last night asked me if the opposition could go to the OAS and ask for observers in this general election coming here. I told them yes. She could do all of that and they will have dialogue and deal with this man inside here. We have an ambassador there and they just gather on a regular basis. And they could call for a lot of things because they discuss politics, therefore diplomacy, human rights, down to the LGBT as I explained just now. And we can have these people coming in here and getting everything and we ain't getting nothing. Right? Because our government fail us, and when they fail, the opposition is who responsible for us after. They are the ones to speak out for us and represent us in the parliament. and all in these organizations too. So people have to speak out and ask. You can't stay quiet because we dead inside of here.
Yes, ma'am.
We need protection. They can protect us as well. They could order his ass for all kind of things. And he have to do it. Otherwise, it does get dread.
Yes.
He can't get no trouble inside of it. And he ain't already go there. Is the ambassador, or when they have anything, is Amory Brown. And when them Latin American countries ambassadors or the president and thing started talking inside of there, don't be easy, you know. It does have real trouble inside of there, you know. And don't feel, you hear, they are ready and waiting to deal with Trinidad because they're watching me. So people, get up and ask your opposition who all you love so much, see if all they could ask her to get this man, you know, in order inside of here. It going too far. And I ain't stopping, you know, I'm going at it full blow. You see how they killed that child? I ain't taking it so.
Yes.
Because down on that side, all kind of thing coming inside. And it getting dread. So she had to stand up inside of here. It ain't no more sleeping. Have a good night, Lennox.
Same to you, my dear. Same to you. You know, having these discussions with people and the focus on regional and hemispheric geopolitics and issues as we must have in regard to the impact negatively by and large that it is having on Trinidad and Tobago. I was minded, of course, just to give you some information, put a team together, what I consider to be an intellectual team, if you want to call it that, if you want to call that a think tank team, to look at not just the OAS, but other institutions, because I did mention that we on the ground report at least, that we would be making overtures in that direction. And to, of course, look at a number of institutions in the country that, if left on their own and having regard to the level of insertion, I want to say, we could go as far as to say incursions, and the ability of the Rowley administration to generate such despicable act, even though these institutions are supposed to be independent for all intents and purposes, that this think tank has the responsibility not only to identify institutions to which international and regional and hemispheric, to which the EBC is attached, so we could lodge our complaint, to which Trinidad and Tobago is attached, such as the OS, the Latin American Commission for Human Rights, apart from the OS, look at, of course, the Geneva-based United Nations Human Rights Bureau, and of course the State Department that records, that monitors, of course, the activities of every single nation in this hemisphere, and do a report on them, that we have an obligation, of course, to treat with that. In addition, of course, I don't think any list of where we should be focusing action would be complete if we did not mention to look at institutions that provide independent observation for elections across the hemisphere and the globe. So your plea and your beseechment and your concern and focus, Mr. Rima, has not fallen on deaf ears. What it has done, with, of course, the inevitability and the pronouncements by the Prime Minister, that we are, in fact, not once, not twice, but he seemed to be very, very, very focused and very determined to have an election, having regard to the fact that he has accepted that from August this year, Trinidad and Tobago is in an election year focus, or I wouldn't yet say campaign, but certainly have to consider that as a reality. So I thought it was important, of course, to share that with the national, regional, and international community on the corridor transformation. So we put a think tank together in order to treat with these matters because they are important for our democracy and for the upcoming general elections in particular. I'm seeing here, before I give way to the caller, I'm seeing here Trinidad and Tobago, Vanessa Ramroop, interim representative of Trinidad and Tobago, and this has to do with the OAS. I've looked up, of course, the representative for each country in the OAS, and that is the information I have gotten. So it appears that there is a female from the information I have. I don't know how recent it is, but this is what I have gotten so far. So I'm going to continue to dig during the course of this program, whilst of course you are making your contribution. But that being as it may, a pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Pleasant good night again, Mr. Lennox. I have
Yes.
two quick points.
Go ahead.
This is the best that Dr. Rowley administration could do. This is the best. They naturally cannot do better. Why is that? Fail engineer is dealing with our money. Put that aside. When you look really, Dr. Rowley has no management skills. He has no economic skills. He just has a geology in rock, right?
Yes.
So this is the best that they can do. And everybody complaining about how they're patching the road. But I want to make it clear if nobody didn't put it to them, right?
Right.
What's happening, we had something called petrogen used to create the highest quality of bitumen in the Caribbean. Now we are importing and paying lots of money for lower quality of bitumen. So this is why our road would not get better under this administration. We need our administration to come in, do some homework to find out how to reopen back petrogen, to start to get back high quality of bitumen, so our roads can be pitch and not patch.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say, Mr. Lennox.
Thank you very much. Very salient point indeed. As we go inexorably to make the comparison between what is happening in the United States, not to influence the outcome of the elections, whichever way it go is irrelevant to us here for all intents and purposes, but certainly to make a comparison. I'm seeing here, of course, trying to get some granular detail. I'm seeing here that the appointment of Miss Ramroot was, of course, March 2nd, 2024. So that is pretty recent. And then, of course, there are some alternates. There's an alternate, and there's, of course, and the appointment, and then you have an attaché as well, Carlos Morrison, who is the attaché. And then you have, of course, Commander Keel and Brown, Jason, who is also an attaché. So I may have my information wrong, but this is what I've gathered so far as the member of the OAS, Trinidad and Tobago, and their representatives are concerned. I have an address as well, and telephone number, as well as an email address. So I will be testing to see whether or not this is in fact so. But of course, our concern is not to target or not to send to that individual, because they are not going to present our case to the body, the OS body, but it's just to familiarize ourselves for academic reasons, for knowledge reasons, who are the representatives that have either not been present or abstained from critical votes on critical matters connected indirectly to Trinidad. I'm talking about, of course, the migrants from Venezuela coming here, and of course consuming a lot of the resources of the country that ought to have been available to the population. That being as it may, let's go straight to the lines. Once again, a pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you as well. Yes, good night to you as well.
And all who are streaming live. Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
Back to our politics and what Rowley is doing is a clear indication to see when we start with the glass bottle falling down in Skinner's Park, they could not muster enough supporters to full Skinner's Park. Then they come and they had the constituency executive election. And you can see how disgruntled the outgoing executive and the membership is. Because you've seen a clear boycott. All his inauguration, where he go to talk on behalf and welcome the new executives throughout the length and breadth. But mainstream media and the activists and them will talk about that what I recognize. So you see now the last one is in La Hoquita. It was clear like day and dark as night. Thank God it was coming after full moon. When they show him disrespect and they have no time for them, they can only talk. 9 years of hoodwinking. But Mr. Lennox,
yes,
now it's time that I would like the outside program to be outside in the constituencies. Because Tobago clearly show Keith Rowley don't want them as a citizen and neighbor or investor in Tobago. They run him, and much less for in politics.
yes.
Keith Rowley come up with his strategy and he butter in, which he has hoodwinked the population for 9 years. Now, he tried a talk to see what is the feedback on it and to see how much. Now he could tell the African diaspora that come home, stay home, we can't afford it, we didn't have money. But $500 billion and $70 billion presently in our budget. If they have no money, Mr. Lennox, and the current expenditure for this country, he had dropped it less than $25 billion. He cut every single thing. And yet still, he's still going out like if he had run this country with pride and joy and all to the way of the bank. And I just want some of the listeners to watch and observe that the NGL stock, they drop it down to Delhi's under $10. The Republic Bank holding group, where Trinidad have a share in it.
Mm-hmm.
Since the push of Mr. Ronald Harford, the stock keep dropping right down from $125 up there where it was coming down.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if there is a path for some of the financiers to afford to buy it out. Now, you see where our asset is being sold out.
Mm-hmm.
And we have David Nackett, Andy Roberts, and Miss Jolene John, and Andy hopefully for Grandy because he's going at the seat.
Yes.
And he's making good inroad. Where it is that Rowley could come and get a majority. He begging the people now to say that the UNC, just like what you was talking now, I'm going to bring it home now.
Yes.
He's going to say that the UNC don't care for all you and don't want, like all the culture. Give me the majority. I need a constitution majority. Vote for me and I will change the pan. And I will change all the African stigma. But I wonder if you'll tell BP Trinidad to move from Trinidad. And you'll move the Red House, as you say, and all the colonial houses and you move Shagaramas and all them army men out of the base. So Mr. Lennox, it's just like what they'll come and he fighting for, to tell them that he had done good. And the good is just like the scanning machine Paula Gopi Schoon paid $26 million US for it invisible. Just as how Rowley delivered to the people invisible. Good night, Trinidad and Tobago. And a pleasant weekend. Hear you on Saturday Gospel Live, Mr. Lennon.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Same to you, my friend, in advance. But of course, we still have tomorrow morning where we have an encounter as far as the ground report is concerned. But let's go to the lines. The lines are up, boy. I'm getting a chance to expatiate my comparative analysis. But it is lovely to know that we are so interactive. President, good night. Welcome.
Good night, the Silver Fox here.
Yes, my friend. Go ahead.
I am asking and I'm begging the people of Trinidad, don't fall for no race hate. The people in Tobago, the elderly and all, stating Rowley is a madman. In Tobago, you can't get nobody to say they are PNM no more. The people in Tobago standing up with Camilla. We are black people and we're standing with Camilla. We want Camilla to win election to govern the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. And asking all you, bear with us and stay with us and stay with Camilla Prasad Misesa. We are in a terrible state. Sometimes I just wish I don't even want to exist in this world no more.
Wow.
Rowley bring me to that place.
Yes.
I'm tired. I'm tired even talk about him. I am just, because I can't save, I can't do nothing. Everything's sky high. You can't buy school books. One book alone is $800 and whatever. And they're giving you a grant of $1,000 which cannot do nothing.
Yeah.
And property tax is coming. And where would these people who can't even afford books pay property tax? That means you're taking away the property. No, they can't pay things. They wouldn't have nowhere to live. I'm asking the unions. I'm asking the opposition. Let us gather our people, both Trinidad and Tobago, and hold one of the biggest rally in Trinidad and Tobago to remove this man from office, because we wouldn't have a Trinidad or a Tobago. We are in pain. Pain take us over from a beautiful place to a place of darkness. We are in darkness right now. We want help. We want somebody to stand up. Oh God, you don't have a Moses somewhere? How these people will pay tax, the property tax? Eh? How all will look to see that these people losing their home, what they fight for, and they can't even keep their home properly, much as to pay property tax. Somebody somewhere, all of us, we need to come out and stand up. Rowley is a human being, I always say that. What we have fear of him for? Eh? Election would not take this man out, because if election, he will want to thief it. And this is the time that it will have radical on the street. We don't want that. We don't want that. We want a peaceful process. And the right way to take it is to get out on the street and let them come out of office. Inboth is laughing at us. He's telling us we have money in the house and all under the bed and all in the mattress. How Inboth know we have money all about there? Eh? Maybe he put it there before he leave and go away and come back. This Antiguan is laughing at us in Trinidad and Tobago. It's time for we to laugh back. Good night.
Good night, my friend. Very passionate plea. That is a common refrain. Of course, there is a specific, should I say, nexus or progression between talk and action. The call to action clearly emanates from the mind, manifested, of course, in some expression, talk. But the final creme de la creme, the proof of the pudding, is in the actual execution. And we have ventilated this before, but there is a necessity to continue to advocate for additional pressure to be placed on the Rowley administration, if only to test the regime's resolve to engage the law enforcement agencies to act in the way that they did during COVID. Arrest as well as tear gas its population, because when the refrain started, Rowley must go, that is when the aggression against the protesters around the savannah, an open space, I would suggest about a quarter of Trinidad could hold in the savannah. It's the longest roundabout in the world, over 3 miles, and therefore the area, the space in between the boundaries, the area, could have consumed so many people that it would have been impossible for anybody with a modicum of common sense to conclude that there would have been the threat of spread. There would have been more threat of spread when 34 of us were carted into a limited space bus and then, of course, detained in a limited space in a room at the 2 police stations, Sinclair and St. James. So the intention was clear, to intimidate and to say to the population and the world that Rowley will not tolerate persons who are calling for him to leave office physically, publicly, on the streets. I am saying so only to say that that is a possibility, but not to demotivate at all. If the call is made by whosoever it is, because we have seen the pushback movement in motion, we have seen the trade unions in motion, maybe if there is a collaborative or cooperative approach, now that there is an election that is pending and closer to reality, much, much closer to reality, that maybe now is the time. I am going to discuss this matter with my colleagues. We certainly going to, of course, invite a discussion with the trade unions and other elements. That is the way I will be going. So in other words, while I am complaining about fatigue and loss of energy, I am energized by the prospects and the ability to motivate those who consistently call for what? Yes, for action against this government on the streets of the country, to send a message. That's the ultimate. We have already accepted that the opposition has done or is doing a tremendous amount of work in terms of rolling back the authoritarian and the dictatorial tendency of this government. But the population can only respond by amalgamating ideas, resources, plans and route, date and time, in order, of course, to send that ultimate message and to tell Rowley and they expedite the process. I, for one, had predicted that he would have called elections at maximum 2 years ago. And every year I became more and more optimistic, but leading, of course, to the year when he must call it, and now he is talking that on a regular basis. So we know, because he knows that. And he knows that his ass is grass if he only postpone. That's why he's talking so much about it's an election year, you know. That's to tell the world that elections will be called when they are due. That's what he's doing. And to, of course, neutralize those of us here who know that he prefers not to have an election. He prefers to be a dictator and run Trinidad and Tobago according to his whim and fancy, capricious as his policies are, wicked and diabolical as they have expressed themselves in the daily lives of the people. So we know the nature of the beast. But it will be wonderful if we can really pull off in an election year a massive show of force on the streets of this country. And it is not beyond us, because we have done it before and we can do it again. You see, timing is critical, and I'm sure the general population will realize that they have nothing to lose at this stage. Maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, yes, because at that point in time people were believing that somehow 2025 will never come. Well, we are in August 2024, people. We are in August 2024. So, August, September, October, November, December, 4 more months. And then, of course, the turn of the tide. And I would not be surprised if our first major outing on the streets would be early in 2025. Because that for sure will put the icing on the cake. And it will be sweet, sweet, sweet revenge. Sweet, sweet, sweet revenge, people. Our democracy is at risk. And the people cannot absorb anymore. And they must now call for immediate elections. But failing that, because of constitutional and other factors, we will take to the streets and deal with this albatross, this devil in human form, this devil incarnated in the form of Rowley and its imps, its followers. That is where we should be going, and that is where we must go. Yes, indeed, people, we have a duty and responsibility. But I was making the point about the comparison between what is happening in the United States and that of Trinidad and Tobago. And clearly, one side, the Democrats are saying, let's take back, let's save America. And next one is the Republicans are saying, let's make America great again. But in between there are some distinct comparisons. The incumbent, those who are in power, have dismantled, of course, the border program that is of tremendous interest to Americans, because those who wish to harm them or wish to do them harm can use these porous borders on the Mexican side to enter. A border that Trump spent a lot of his presidency in attempting to clog. Biden has opened it up wide. Of course, the war in Afghanistan, yes, where the Americans retreated, of course, in humiliation. Trump said he would not have done it that way. He would have made sure that, of course, all of the personnel and troops and assets that were left there, millions if not billions of dollars worth, for the Afghan succeeding Taliban regime to use as they please, and to go back to the atrocious policies and programs and emasculating women in particular, abusing them and torturing them. Unacceptable in a modern society, but it is happening. We also see, of course, the Democrats blaming, of course, Trump for undermining the Constitution of the United States. And for that, he has been prosecuted, some say persecuted, for saying that they orchestrated the Democrats to steal the elections, which, of course, the Democrats won and caused Biden to be in office today as president. Yes, so the blame game. So a similar situation with the incumbent in Trinidad, even though it's 9 years ago, Rowley continues, of course, to blame, mention, and, of course, try to decry and downgrade and reduce the opposition, both in terms of personality and in terms of an institution. Yes, indeed. But the opposition has stood fast as Trump has been standing his ground on the various matters, whether it be that of abortion, whether it be that of foreign policy, whether it be that of the borders. But let's go straight to the lines. I think our President, good night, welcome. President, good night.
Good night, Mrs. Smith.
Good night to you.
Yeah. What's about the program on the air? Am I on the air?
Yes, you are on the air.
Right. I really want investigation. Are you concerned about investigating fraud and all these type of things?
Yes, those are some of the obvious. I should say the default is automatic that this government must be investigated for all of the iniquities that they have committed against the people, criminal as well as civil.
Right, and if you have been writing concerning all the gang warfare and all the other things that going on with individual, and you don't get a response, how can we address it again?
Well, clearly, in this country, I want to say that who have more corn feed more fowl. In other words, if you have money, you don't have a problem. You can, of course, if you could spend money. You may not be successful, but at least you have a deep pocket and you could work until you're successful. So that's the first part of it. But the institutions are there to go to court, etc. I know you personally, and I want to tell you, I want to commend you for your tenacity and for your grit and determination as a woman who have lost her husband at the wrong time. Let me put it that way. But you have been a victim of unscrupulous elements, but you went to court, and in spite of the struggles, you are not a rich person. I know that for a fact, and you have gotten a court order in which essentially the judge dismissed the case of the claimant who were claiming the property and of course claiming that you had breached a tenancy contract and all of that. So I want to commend you, and I think you are the kind of person who can give us a lot of personal experience to bring to this program and to the population as to your experience. So I would love to hear you, identify, you don't give us all, but identify certain areas and what you had to do and the trauma that you had to go through and the pain and ache and agony and of course sleepless nights, and I'm sure sometimes lack of food and lack of accommodation, but your tenacity clearly has paid off. I'm saying so because a caller from Tobago want us to go hit the streets and to, of course, hit this administration in its solar plexus, in its most vulnerable parts. So go ahead. I don't want to take up all the talk. I am very familiar with your circumstance. But I'm saying that you have to get the institutions working, but there's a certain kind of attitude you have to take, a tenacity such as yours, in order to achieve what you really want. And in this case, of course, it's justice.
Yeah, because I wrote to the commissioner.
Yes.
Right? She had sent the letters to the relevant authorities, REMA and so like that. And I have the inspector there. They're doing their best they could. But then there is officers who are undermining the situation for me.
Right.
Because what had never been said was said about me, which is not the truth.
Right.
Right? And then two, from the start of things, persons cannot be telling you what they're going to do to you and doing it and getting away with everything of it.
Yes.
And so far, the investigating officer going in there, and he hasn't seen most of the evidence that I give to him.
Right.
So this hinder everything. So in my respect, I want to know what an individual should do with the evidence that they have, even though they have took all my things and they're going through my personal things, Mr. Smith.
Yes.
They are going through my personal things. They bring out company that is also like my company. Because when the doctor called me and tell me what is going on, and I went to Excellence, the Center of Excellence, I have gotten all the information, and that is a fact. They have gone through all my company files, and they had formed companies and taken over my company. This is another kind of thing again that I want to look into. I will like some advice, and I will like some guidance on that.
Well, let me tell you something.
And in the top,
I had asked a search clerk to look into that specific matter. I want to tell you, it cost me, I think, $200 today. But I didn't mind that. And she gave me a file. Tonight I'll be looking at it, even though I'm complaining that, of course, I'm fatigued. But I'll be looking at it. So only today I got that. She is a reliable person who has done some work for us before. So I'll be looking at that today and comparing it with some of the information that are being said on the other side, to try to justify an action that is belligerent, that is barbaric, that is uncivilized. If you have a matter in the court, how could you, of course, get rogues and criminal elements to take action physically and disrupt the lives while at the same time undermining the judicial process? So I am very, very familiar. So, and of course, all things being equal, including, of course, funding. We don't have funding, but what little it takes. I really admire your tenacity, your grit, and your determination. I'm sure we'll meet up tomorrow, and I will give you a copy of what I only got today. So I want you to know that I've been working behind the scenes when I saw that court judgment in your favor. And therefore, of course, I'm sure that we are reaching closer and closer to some justifiable decision that would express justice for you.
Can't you imagine this? That is not the first time these people are telling authorities that I am unstable and I need psychological
evaluation. Yeah, all of that.
The first time they told the officer that I were in madhouse and they take my computer. I just come in, and that case had been gone up in the bailiff. The Bailiff Association, we had a case there, and he's no longer a bailiff.
Right.
And that was dealt with. And I mean, the authorities, the police should have been arrested this guy for saying things and keeping my computer there, even though she tells him
that's the guy who is the agent, purported to be the agent of the company that say that they own the property. Because I got a copies of the deed, And it's important. We look at the date and all of that to see how legitimate all these things are. So that is where we are going. So we are going backwards to look at when this thing started, because they have presented a particular position that clearly the courts would have be conscious of, been given the information, but yet still, now that the court has made a decision in your favor, they seem to want to try something again in order to have their way. So we are going to look at that.
Not try something again, they try something again, because when I came in, when they break open the office and they're doing all these certain things, right?
Yes.
They work under another new set of documents.
Right.
Right? And so the court gave the verdict now. That means that all the new documents that they was telling the police and giving the police is not really relevant anymore.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And besides that, Mr. Smith, is that all in all, whenever they said certain things to me and I do my search, there was no documents stating such. That is why all the matters from the low court going up, they could not have gotten any let me say verdict at all coming to them, because they don't have no proper documents. And then there is when I go into the legal affairs, they told me that the woman is alive and signing documents over there. When
officially she was dead, pronounced dead. She did a certificate to that effect.
Right, now,
I think in 2005 there.
The police now is renting out the front, where he even changed the light bill onto his name, using the dead woman, because his wife is a Garcia as well. So they changed it up, and now he's renting out the front. What is up with that? I also sent the information, and I asked the investigating officer. I let him know of what is going on.
Right, good. Well, as I say, we have taken it to the highest level. Of course, I can't give you all that time to vent, but I thought we should share sufficiently to make the population of Trinidad and Tobago and the diaspora know that there are people who are prepared, of course, to go the extra mile, but there is a proviso, and that is a sacrifice. If people are willing to do that, then of course they can go on the street and expedite, of course, the exit of this government, so that we can breathe much more easily and generate the justice that we want in Trinidad and Tobago as we restore our democracy. That is why I engage in this private matter.
Can I suggest to you,
yes,
because there's a lot of sabotage will be going on, and when you go on the streets, they have the gang where they can do the pepper spray, doing all the manner of things.
Yes.
So everything is online. Can we get online something where person voice their opinion and do their voting and everything? Because when you go on the streets now, they have the settings where they spray the people with pepper spray. Don't know what else they can do. People are afraid to go on the streets and voice their opinion. I am one of them, that because they threaten and they say things, and I see that they're doing it.
Right.
So I will recommend, if we can have online something, a Zoom or something, where people can put the complaints and voice their opinion in a way so that the Trinidad and Tobago extension, the world, will understand what is going on. And if some of the cases can deal on the line as well, so people will understand that the crime is not really settled with individuals and neighbors. It is high up there. The people with businesses are using the small man to commit all the crime, and the government, they have a government within a government, so they control the
resources,
and
they manipulate the law. Yes. I agree with you.
They control it, and they also control the airways, where they have these equipment, and them where they could, as long as they come in that area, they could set it up. They do it in my phone all the time.
They block.
I have to be moving from one place to the other to get a call, because when I there at the other place, No calls coming in.
Yeah.
I cannot
And-
get onto the radio
and they
station.
can't-
I cannot get onto nobody.
And they can't get it right in the prison, but they want, of course, to attack because they are vulnerable, or ordinary citizens with their devices that block, of course, the people's call and communication. So wonderful idea. I am going to put that to our committee that looks and organize these events, and that is very important because we are more independent now that we are not on the radio station, but we have our own setup, and as the technology makes itself available, I see nothing wrong in setting up a Zoom arrangement where, of course, the whole world is simultaneously with us, whether we're on the streets or otherwise, and utilizing the technology in that way, because we have a sufficient amount of investment in that, a sufficient amount of expertise in that, a certain amount of persons who have made their own investment and so on that could be utilized in order to achieve what you have just described. So thank you very much for that intervention. I'll speak to you in the morning with, of course, the information that I recently got this evening, and then we'll try to make a final move as to making certain that justice comes to you, and now it is on your doorstep.
Right, and I want to thank you for all the wonderful work you have done and how you had focused on the ground report. And I want people to know that you really worked. You really, really worked. And I also want to thank the police and them that is assisting in every way to keeping me in the let me say alive.
Yes.
Because without them and without you, I don't think that it will have reached that far.
Yes,
Everything would have been vanished away. But
the
ground report, which is you and your team and the officers and the commissioner, those that is really, really working hard to stabilize the criminal activities.
Yes.
I have to say thanks to all of you, and I pray that we get somewhere to put the criminals into fear instead of them putting us into fear.
Yes, thank you very much for those closing remarks. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow morning. All right, after
Please
the program.
Lord.
Yes, bye-bye.
Okay.
Yes, please the Lord. Yes, people, of course, that wasn't planned. That wasn't a planned script, but this particular individual who I have been working with for some time, a matter that was brought to our attention on the ground report in the first instance. We took up the matter, and after some years, she finally got justice as far as the court is concerned, but where the implementation of that decision is concerned, the other side is, of course, generating a kind of resistance, a kind of almost contempt. They're just short of contempt, but if we have to go there, we will certainly go in order to get justice. So thank you very much once again, madam, and of course I am sure that many of you would have gleaned a lot from that interview or that encounter. So let me just conclude here that we have a situation in Trinidad where Dr. Rowley won, and of course you will now make your own determination. One, he has a responsibility as Prime Minister to deliver to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Instead of that, he is blaming everybody else except himself, who was given the responsibility, I must say, of course. Secondly, of course, from time to time, he will pretend as though he has total and absolute control. This is not a dictatorship. This is a democracy, a government by the people, of the people, and for the people. And one expects that principle will be respected. No, Rowley is averse to that kind of approach. We have seen it, of course, with his decision to talk about the removal of the ships from the coat of arms. Totally oblivious, or not thinking clearly of the repercussions of that for every single administrative aspect of Trinidad and Tobago. Every single administrative aspect, from the money, the dollars, in terms of the insignia or the symbol, to, of course, coat of arms in government offices, on vehicles, on letterheads for the plethora of ministries and departments. I mean, and we can go on, of course, including, of course, state enterprises. Boy, oh boy, this man is a compound and consummate ass. Oh my goodness. Call back, please. Sorry, I pressed the wrong knob. I wanted to get you in, but instead I cut you out instead. So call back, please. Yes. So yes. Yes. Let me just take this call. Sorry about that. I inadvertently cut you off. A pleasant good night.
Hey, LENNOX, pleasant good night to you and everybody in life. Pleasant good night.
Yes.
So you mentioned the coat of arms where we only want to change or get rid of the 3 ships.
Yes.
LENNOX, you know that history repeating itself right there? Because it have an article circulating on Facebook where Manning tried was to do it in 1992, you know. I think it was in the Sunday Mirror.
In fact, he did put the coat of arms on the prime ministerial car, pretending to be, but of course, it's conscious. But and Rowley already said that he has the. So first, he's conscious. You know, he said that he has the numbers in the parliament to make it happen. You know, he said that. You know, whilst he was making the announcement, I'm going to play it for people on Saturday. This man has gone mad. Nobody's going to stand up and let him arrogate to himself such a breach and such a disrespect for the Constitution and our tradition and those things that we value highly and have made Trinidad and Tobago what it is and to the rest of the world. So you mean that have to be reintroduced to every single embassy, every country of the world will have to know now that the emblem of Trinidad and Tobago now includes, not includes, but of course replace the ships, and there's now a pan. Otherwise, people will say that there's a false emblem when they see a letterhead with a pan instead of the 3 ships. They say, well, listen, I could see people saying there's fraud, on several documents. But go ahead, my friend. I thought I should just pick up on what you said. Yes.
How much embassy it have Trinidad and Tobago have across the world?
Quite a lot. I don't have a number, but that could be easily dealt with before I close the program. I see no reason why I can't get that. But go ahead, yes.
On that, it will be under 100 or over 100.
I think, under 100, because we are a small country, we cannot have embassies because the United Nations has 198 countries. So it has to be under 100 because small countries can't afford embassies, full-fledged embassies at least in every country. So it would be a dozen or so. Yeah. Let me see if I can get it here on my phone. How many embassies?
All right, well,
Trinidad and Tobago has?
Listening.
Yes, thanks. Yes. I'm consulting my phone people. The technology. How many embassies Trinidad and Tobago has?
According to embassies.net, this list of diplomatic missions in Trinidad and Tobago is made up of 41 foreign embassies and consulates from 40 countries around the world, which are mainly located in Port of Spain and Marival.
All right, so that is the amount that is here in Trinidad, 40 to 41. Let's see what we have outside of Trinidad now. So you see, so it's almost similar to the amount of seats that we have electorally. As far as constituencies are concerned, let's see what this. If I phrase the question differently, how many embassies Trinidad and Tobago? Oh boy, no, let me just that is. Oh, hurry! So wait now. All right. How many embassies Trinidad and Tobago has outside of the country, in foreign lands?
According to embassies.net, Trinidad and Tobago has a total of 9 embassies, 0 consulates and 1 other diplomatic representations in about 7 countries around the world.
Right, so we know now. So it's under 100, yes, and more specifically 7 countries, of course, and you have something called consulates as well, which are not full-fledged embassies with all of the different ambassadors and so on, but you have what we call a consulate. So a total of 9 nine embassies, and 0 consulates, and 1 other diplomatic representation in another 7 countries. So essentially 9 and 7 will give you what, 16? So 16 in all, and of course if you had to put the 1 consulate, it means that that is 16, 17 in all. Let's go again, 16, yeah, 17 in all. So that's the use of the technology. We can get instantaneous information, and that's why I'm very meticulous about the information that we disseminate. And while I may not, based on the source, like coming from regular research callers, and if I'm not aware of a particular issue, but of course the caller might have mentioned it, I would then say I will do some research and come back. Of course, what I prefer to do is to have instantaneous proof, so that we don't waste time. I always tell my members of my family that you complete things, and there is no better way in this particular case to complete a piece of information by simply referring to where the source is, get the information, and you leave you leave tonight, or you leave that particular exercise very filled, and not, of course, lacking of something that you may gain the benefit of sometime later. No, there's no need to procrastinate, so to speak. We do it immediately. All right? So we know now that there's about 17 missions across the globe, of the 198 thereabout countries comprising the United Nations. Let me make sure. Let me make sure, and let me do a guess. Let me just find out how many countries make up the United Nations. How many countries make up the United Nations?
Here are some results from the web.
No, that's it. Let me get it again. This thing like it horrible. How many countries make up the United Nations?
193 According to Ask Dag, the United Nations, there are currently 193 UN member states. Each of the member states of the United Nations has 1 seat in the General Assembly.
Great. So it's 193. I was thinking about 98. So you see, so I'm corrected by the information, and that is so nice. So that is good. What I consider be, some say civic knowledge, some say general knowledge. Well, there you have it. So we know how much tonight embassies or missions Trinidad and Tobago has across the globe. We know how much are here, 41, similar to the number of constituencies we have. So that's easy to remember. There's a method of remembering, because education, as I always tell my son, is about remembering. So what you do, you find mechanisms so to do. And one of the ways, by association, you associate one piece of information with something that you would already know about, and therefore it's easy to remember. And of course, that is why I mentioned automatically that we have 41 constituencies. Well, 41 nations Trinidad and Tobago has a mission in, and therefore that should be easy to remember. Those of us who engage on a daily basis this program and the ground report, etc., quite a lot of material to be absorbed, and you have to find ways and means of course, making certain that when you want to recall it, when the occasion presents itself, like I have gotten more increasingly persons who are saying, well, somebody doubting that Rowley did this or Kamala did that, as the case may be. Well, of course, these exercises will certainly be beneficial, will be of extreme value as you become more and more aware, so that you can, of course, defend your position and to justify, of course, a particular decision or a particular argument that you may have from time to time. So that being as it may, people, I think we could close off. It's now 9:45, so at least I'll stop short of 10 o'clock tonight. Yes, we are going to continue on on Saturday night, but of course tomorrow morning the ground report. Only to conclude with my comparison, saying that the present administration, the Rowley administration in Trinidad, appears to be of the view when it is by default. Let me put it that way. So I want to distinguish that from a planned consciousness. By default, believes that they can be as obnoxious as possible. They believe that their reason for existing is to advocate pain and deliver pain on the people. We have seen that because the policies and programs all the time, whether it be a simple implementation of road traffic laws, you see that it's always punitive, it's always something increasing, never to control or to upgrade human behavior. Always something different. Let's go straight, of course. Always something punitive, in other words, punishable. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. I'll take this final call. A pleasant good night.
Right. Don't forget to call me when you're done on hook and thing, eh?
Yes, I finished it early so I could do that because I need, God knows I need a rest.
I know that, boy. I know you have to tell me that.
Yeah. Today was one of those days. All right.
See you on hook and everything.
Huh?
I say when you're done.
Yes. As soon as I cut off, I'll call you. Yeah. So that will be my final act. Thanks.
Right.
Okay then. Bye-bye.
Really important, yeah?
Okay, no problem. All right.
All right, boy, now.
Yes, indeed. So, people of God, I think we had a wonderful program tonight. We have gone, as usual, past the hour that we have identified for ourselves, but nonetheless, I love the music. So, I think I'll be chanting in the background. I can't sing, so I will, but I'm sure I could make some movements. So, I will start the process for tomorrow night one time. So, let's hear it.
Until I seen your eyes, still I had to try, yeah. Oh yes, let me get my words right and then approach you. Woman, I'll treat you like a man is supposed to. You'll never have to cry, no. I know everyone can relate to when they find a special someone. And she's royal, yeah, so royal.
Don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning the Gong Report continues. Andy, Mikey, and myself, and of course at 8 o'clock. At 6 o'clock from 6 to 9 in the morning, and of course, you can get it right here. We join the Gong Report every morning on the Corridor Transformation, so you can stay right here and get all the information, and stay tuned for other programs that we will be as the election bell ring, and as we draw closer to the elections, we're going to have a barrage, intensity of activities, information that will make you solid and make you, of course, understand that you have a duty and responsibility to act in your own best interests, and this includes, of course, for that of our children and our children's children. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. Bye-bye. See you in the morning.
Was I your one and only? No, still I stood by you. Did you give me more than I bargained? Drain the love out of my fountain. Yeah, still I stand by you. Yes, there is one thing I need you to know about the small matter what you neglect to show. Show me that you love me. Yeah. Show me that you care. So we can be blessed now, minus the stress now. No word of a lie. Agony and ecstasy in a one. Turn the wheels of love in a forward motion. The agony plus devotion. No No render my emotion in a garbage pan. The agony and ecstasy in a one. Turn the wheels of love in a forward motion. The agony plus devotion. No render my emotion in a garbage can. There is one thing I need you to know about this small matter, what you neglect to show. Show me that you love me. Yeah. Show me that you care. So we can be blessed now, minus the stress now. Yeah. Did you ever say thank you for all the things that I've shown you? No, still I stood by you. Ooh. Did you give me more than I bargained? Drain the love out of my fountain. Yeah. Still I stand by you. There is one thing I need you to know about the small matter that you neglect to show. Show me that you love me. Yeah. Show me that you care.
We will not cooperate with the government of Trinidad and Tobago on any matter. We will isolate them for as long as they office until they leave office. We will not cooperate with the government of Trinidad and Tobago on any matter. We will isolate them for as long as they office until they leave office. We will not cooperate with the government of Trinidad and Tobago. We will not cooperate with the government of Trinidad and Tobago on any matter. We will isolate them for as long as they office until they leave office.
We were running on fumes. The previous government maxed out our overdraft at the central bank. A lot of the ministries have money in bank accounts that the last government borrowed that they couldn't spend for they ran out of time. Sport is one of them. Sport had $500 million sitting on in a bank account, believe it or not. Now it was there for particular purposes, so I had to go and change the terms to allow the Ministry of Sport.
lips are sealed. Boy, I see that, boy. I can't tell you nothing about that. Yeah. Everybody, come on. What happens in the party? Oh yeah. What happens in the party? Come on. So anything that you see, oh yeah. Please don't run tell nobody. My lips are sealed. It's time to get on and let yourself go. Do what you want, nobody will know. Your secret is safe with me. Begging all you who are new to this, please don't mind nobody business. Don't talk about what you see.